Hi, wondrous human. Welcome to episode 81. As always, Sunny Bonani Dumalang Goeie afternoon. Bon dia. Yes, in the spirit of me fostering my spontaneous and intuitive abilities, I've pitched up here today with no set theme or message in mind. I am trusting the divine, all the saints and angels, and all of those who wish to assist us in this elevation in human consciousness to, I guess, step forward and whisper little sweet somethings in my ear and perhaps ignite a little message inside my heart. So let's see and sense what wants to come through today, shall we? I seem like I'm quite wrinkled today. Hey, it's not the message though. Breathe. Remember to breathe. Breathe really slowly and breathe really, really deeply. So I guess I'm being called to remind you of the power of the breath. And even though you're breathing, because that's just what the body does automatically, my message today is a reminder for you to become conscious of your breath and for you to navigate how you're breathing. Are you breathing short and shallow and kind of keeping the breath above this part of the body? That's usually our fight and flight response. When we're a little stressed, anxious, agitated, wanting to run away, we tend to just breathe here, short and shallow, short and shallow. 20% of oxygen gets taken in here. 80% of people breathe here. So this is your reminder to allow and facilitate that breath to go into level 2. And if you're really ready, to shift some energetics into level 3. So level 2 is when we breathe into our lungs and we really feel the fullness and the expansion of the in-breath. And equally as important as that in-breath is, that exhalation is paramount and also vital and highly important. So yes, that in-breath must be nice and deep and juicy and fill up those lungs. And that exhale must contract your intercostal muscles, your rib cage, and you literally feel like there's 2 balloons that are shrinking down when you release the air and expand as you fill them up. So breathing nicely in and out the lungs. And level 3 is when we breathe deep down into the belly. And that makes us activate our diaphragm even more. And this requires us to breathe really, really slowly so that we can maximize that breath and push it all the way down deep. I say the belly, but if you understand the lungs are kind of tear-shaped at the bottom and then they round up at the top. So when we're breathing that deep breath, we're literally maximizing our lung capacity and pushing all of that air right down to the very last little bits of our lungs, which usually don't get activated or even used most of the time. So yes, level 3 requires a little bit of awareness and really being conscious and present in the breath. And level 3 is a really powerful way for you to get into the body. If you're feeling anxious, stressed, fearful, you pause for a moment. You remember the power of the breath as your tool. And that's when you use level 3 to shift some really dense or perhaps really charged energetics. It's a little bit more of a challenging one. I usually find that people feel quite a bit of anxiety at level 1 when they are being made aware of the fact that they're breathing short and shallow. If they're not made aware, then the unconscious remains unconscious to how they're breathing. Level 2 is generally comfort zone area, and that last level 3 where we're breathing really deep down and maximizing our complete oxygen intake and using all of our lungs and breathing down deep into the belly is another area which quite a few people actually struggle with as well. And this is when a little bit of maybe trauma or memories that have been filed in a cabinet very far behind get ignited within the body. Might not be triggered in the mind, but the body will remember it. And yes, it's quite an interesting observation and experience to have if that happens. But yes, know that your breath is life, and when we slow life down, we become more present, more powerful, and more consciously aware of how we utilize, leverage, and can activate upon that power, right? In a way that is of service, in a constructive, not a destructive way. So yes, guys, I feel like that was my message today. My message was all about the power of 3-part breathing, and how 3-part breathing, for me at least, has truly fostered and facilitated the gift of connecting to the divine, God source consciousness, the giver of life, and of course, taking in that full inhalation and allowing for that full exhalation. A last little note, which I always feel is so interesting, but so powerful, is taking that full inhalation, for me personally, is generally easier than allowing for that full, powerful exhalation. And I think I've mentioned this before in another episode that I made, but it makes me truly just observe my behavior and how I'm so keen and eager to take in the fullness and the richness of life, and how I struggle and find it a little challenging to release what needs to be released. I tend to like cling on to that little last 20% of air. And it just made me aware of, well, how is that how I'm showing up in life, with things that happen in your day-to-day life, your experiences, your relationships, whatever. Easy to take in, a little more challenging to let it all out. So yes, I guess today I invite you to slow your breath down, become aware of how you're breathing and where the energetics are within the physical body. Are you at level 1, level 2, or level 3? And yeah, drop it in the comments. I'd love to know where you're at. And when you are checking in with what level you're at or what level you're playing at, just observe what's going on in your life, your environment, your external surroundings, your internal environment. And become curious. Contemplate about how the breath and the emotions, or how the breath and relationships, or how the breath and experiences correlate with each other. Do they kind of both rise? Does one slow down, one goes up? What's going on with those aspects and elements, and how does it affect your breath at the end of the day? Magical human, as always, continue to sow those seeds. Allow for the flow of life to guide you so that you may continue to grow, illuminate, and glow. Until tomorrow's delicious episode. Until tomorrow's delicious episode. Keep your heart open, peaceful in your mind, and connect to the giver of life, which is your breath.